Data from the National Bureau of Statistics reveals Nigeria's unemployment rate as at the second quarter of 2020 is 27.1%, indicating that about 21.7 million Nigerians remain unemployed. The data also reveals the worst hit are Nigerian youths with more than 13.9 million currently unemployed. Also, the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education says more than 60 million Nigerians are unable to read and write in any language. Well, these startling data will form the basis for a robust discussion at this year's AELEX lecture with the theme Literacy, Migration and Insecurity, Nigeria's Population Time Bomb. Joining us now for a preliminary discussion on this is a lawyer and senior partner, AELEX legal practitioners and arbitrators, Mrs. Ngozi Efobi. Glad to have you join us, Ngozi.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's start this way. What can we say are the drivers, let's begin there, of migration, and how can we begin to possibly tackle these issues to stop or even reduce migration?
There are quite a lot of issues that drive migration. A lot of people are moving out of the country because they're looking for a better life, whether it's in terms of healthcare, whether it's in terms of education for themselves, for their children, whether it's in terms of there are just many factors, quality of life, comfort. So there are many things that are currently driving the migration that we are seeing out of the country. And what can we do to stop the migration? Because this is a real issue for Nigeria. The fact it's been called the brain drain, right? Because we have quite a lot of professionals, a lot of young, sharp minds that are very necessary for our economy to grow, leaving the country. What we need to do is we need to strengthen our systems. Nigeria needs to make sure that we are able to retain the good minds, the sharp minds that we have within the country. There are a lot of things that need to go into this. We need to make sure that our systems work. The educational system has to work. We need to be confident that our children are going to get the kind of education that they deserve. The society in general has to work. We need to be sure that our children can walk the streets safely. We need to be sure that security is good all throughout the country. We need to be sure that healthcare works. We need to be sure that every system, and this is the thing, it's a complete overhaul that needs to happen for us to stop the brain drain. That's the loss of of professional minds that we're experiencing in the country right now. There's just a lot that needs to happen in the economy as a whole for us to be able to stanch this this trend.
Indeed, and one will be curious to find out why a legal firm as yours is interested in a topic, in a theme like this. What informed this theme, and why are you so interested in it?
So like I said, this is something that is very topical, and it's why the AELEX lecture was founded in the first place. We founded this lecture to give back to society so that we would be able to have conversations that basically revolve around what is going on in the society per time. Right now, the issue of immigration, people leaving the country, has been very topical. And it's also topical because it's not just, we're not losing the bottom of the ladder here. We're losing top minds. We're losing professionals in all the major sectors across the economy, and it cuts across. Like for our clients, for people who we do business with, all the time you have people saying to you, we cannot find the right people to hire. And this is a country of so many people. There are over 201 million people existing in Nigeria right now, and yet we have our top minds consistently leaving the country in droves. So migration is a very topical issue right now, and then there are also a lot of other things that are around it, which is what the topic is about. So it says immigration, illiteracy, and security, and how it relates to Nigeria's population, and whether this population is a time bomb in itself for Nigeria. So we feel that the topic is very topical for right now. Security has been on the forefront of all the conversations that are being had right now. Illiteracy has consistently been an issue in Nigeria, because as at right now, and this is for young people, we're not even talking about the older population, just for people under 15 or 15 and above, only 50% of our population is actually currently either literate or getting an education. So these are things that we feel are topical and that we want to discuss at the lecture, because the lecture was founded for just that very purpose, to discuss topical issues in the society.
Thank you. And you touched on what I was going to bring up with you, which of course is illiteracy, because the statistics are very scary. The fact that 60 million Nigerians are unable to read and write, it makes me very worried about our future. I'm sure it makes everyone very worried about the future of this country. What factors are currently contributing to this extremely high level of illiteracy that we're seeing? And how exactly does the AELEX lecture plan on addressing this proactively?
Okay. So the top two factors that we've seen that are contributing to the literacy levels in Nigeria, one is the state of the economy. A lot of people cannot afford to give their children the kind of education that they would want. In fact, a lot of people cannot afford to give their children education, full stop. They need the children in the farms, they want the children hawking on the streets, they want the children doing all sorts of things. So there's basically a lack of capacity on the part of parents, on the part of, just people in the society in general, to put the young ones, to put people who need to be in school. So the economic situation is a basic factor. Another one is it's a mix of cultural and cultural influences and information. So there's also still, all the places where people are thinking to themselves, we really need to get an education. Is it not sufficient if we can do just anything to get the money? And yes, we know that money is important, but we know that education is so much more important, because it's just the doorway to everything. So there's quite a mix of factors that goes into why the literacy levels are very high. But it seems to us that, the economic factor is a very major one. The knowledge of the parents across the country is another one, and then cultural influences have also contributed to this.
Right. Let's still talk about this migration issue. In 2007, the urban population exceeded the rural one, because, you were talking about migration in terms of even moving out of the country, but here we're talking about even migration within the country, from rural areas to the urban communities. In 2007, the urban population exceeded the rural one by, exceeded it. Now, by 2035, an estimated 60% of the world's population will be urban. This is according to the UN. What does this mean for livelihood? And of course, you talk about questions of insecurity.
So it means a lot. It means a whole lot. The first thing is we need to start thinking about infrastructure. As a matter of fact, the first thing is we need to start thinking about why this urban migration is happening in the first place. And there's a lot of conversation that's been had about decentralization and basically, being able to make sure that places in the